Welcome to the RPG Talk Show. My name is Daniel Ivey, and this is
John Wilker, Vice President of RPG Research. We utilize our research into role-playing games to provide educational, therapeutic, entertainment, and leisure benefits for us and anybody else that we present our information to.
That was actually my line.
But we also, isn't that true? But we are a 501c3 organization dedicated to the research and development of role-playing games in all formats and genres for all players.
And we've actually had a question about why we emphasize the all players, and we're trying to double down on that it isn't just the genres and the subsets. We're trying to make it accessible to all players, no matter accessibility, mentality, or anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you are blind, you are welcome to the table. If you are deaf, you are welcome to the table. If you're just ignorant, you're welcome to the table.
Right.
Because that's what education's for.
Right. The only time you're not welcome to the table is when you've proven you're going to be a danger to the table.
Right.
Right.
If you, well, you know what? That brings us to our just talking topic.
Oh, really? It does.
Because...
Oh, before we go to that, I wanted to mention our main topic today is BCI RPG.
That's brain-computer interface.
Yes, it is.
And we will have our resident expert, the head of our brain-computer interface department for RPG research, Valerie, for our next interview.
Yes.
And we will also, after that, we will get to the traps and riddles, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, and unboxing.
And I got a special surprise for you.
Okay. Now, you said you had something that you wanted to talk about.
Well, like you mentioned, you're talking about the behavior of certain players.
Yes.
Why that is something we judge you on more than your appearance, your background, anything about you as a person, as you know, things that you can't control, like hair color.
Yeah.
But you can control your behavior, or at least be taught to control your behavior.
Yeah.
Now, we have programs for just those kind of things.
Yeah. Now, mind you, we understand that there are some behavioral problems. For example, someone with Tourette's, well, that's part of their condition. But we can and do work around that.
Right.
Yeah.
If somebody has Tourette's, then we're going to give leeway for those tics, and whether they're verbal or physical.
Yeah.
But if somebody doesn't have Tourette's and they act like they do, that's a behavioral issue that we'll have to address.
Right. And honestly, a bit offensive, because people with Tourette's have a genuine condition.
Right.
It isn't something to be made fun of.
Yeah. And I was also referring to just people who are swearing for the sake of swearing. That's one of my personal pet peeves.
Yeah.
And that's something we would address in a session 0. Now,
I mean, I know that I can swear like a sailor, but I don't do that around you because I respect you.
Thank you. I appreciate being respected.
Although I will occasionally tell you some of the more creative ones.
Of course.
Yeah.
There's a difference between using swear words appropriately and in context, and using swear words as a comma or instead of an Yeah. I would rather he have to delete my ums than have to delete and beep every third word.
You know what? I'm a bit interested in the concept of an entire, or at least one entire segment of a black bar across my mouth and just a beep. Because I'm going on some rant.
What was that?
But I will not be doing that.
And is unnecessary censorship.
I introduced that to you guys because I was talking. This is just chatting, and I know we're going to get back to this, but there is. I introduced the concept of the power of censorship, and how censorship isn't just omitting things that are unwanted, but your mind tries to fill that in. And for me, the perfect video to emphasize that is a Sesame Street episode. that's been doctored.
Maybe we can provide a link to that later.
I will try to provide the link. But it's the counting. And he's got a wonderful song about how he loves counting. The way it's been doctored is every single time after he introduces himself as the Count, all they do is they make a blatant censorship of them censoring the word count. And your mind fills it in and it now becomes offensive.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
In order to prevent a table from becoming offensive to the players, we have what is commonly referred to as a session 0, but I want to start referring to as a session 0.5.
Okay.
And the 0.5 means that we're actually going to roll dice today.
Okay. Yeah, because I know that Hawk has had issues with the concept of session 0 because, one, the pedantic of, you don't start with 0, you start with 1, but a lot of the session 0s, nothing happens.
Right.
Right. And
so I'm going that mid-ground where there's going to be some discussion before we start playing, but we are going to start playing.
Right. Like, I know that for me, I don't mind the concept of session 0 as long as it isn't limited to a session. So, for example, when I start up a campaign or bring anyone in, I meet with them and talk with them. For me, that's session 0, where we're talking about ideas and concepts and whatnot of what type of players what type of players are you going to be, what type of characters do you want to play, how is that going to fit in my world, what are your motivations. For me, that's all session 0, and that doesn't have to be with everyone at the table.
Well, Seth Skorkowski, he does a lot of Cthulhu and other games.
Yeah.
But he's a YouTube personality, and he was talking about session 0, and he, believe it or not, it's not the 0 he's offended by.
It's a 0.5?
It's the session.
Okay.
Because nothing says you have to meet everybody together at one time in a session to get the information across to everybody. It can be done asynchronously. Yeah,
asynchronously, yes.
I have a speech impairment. If you don't notice, you don't notice.
Honestly, some words are just difficult.
Yeah.
Yes. And I mean, I'm not offended by that, but I tend to go by what you just said, or I'm not limiting it to a session.
Right.
Yeah.
For example, one of the things I did for session 0 for this campaign, our Saturday campaign before you started, I gave everybody a link to it's not a Dropbox, it's on Google.
Yeah, Google Drive.
And I put it in the Google Drive and gave everybody a link to it so they have our rules and all of the home rules and all that stuff. One of the reasons I'm bringing this up is that September 16th at Uncle's in the Valley, I'm going to be starting a new campaign.
Yes.
And it's going to be a Greyhawk campaign. And it's going to start on the most famous to us grognards of the early modules, Keeping the Borderlands.
Yes.
They call it Herald in the Borderlands because I'm sure it's not going to be identical.
Yeah.
But they are doing a lot of board game type stuff with it. To like, you get a placemat for your character, and you add your background and your feats, and it's like a half-done pre-generated character.
Yeah.
Your stats are already there, but you're going to be adding these other things, and you're going to have little miniatures and battle maps and all those stuff. What I'm really interested in is that it's Keeping the Borderlands.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start a Greyhawk campaign where I am going to go and hit as many modules. So you're going to be literally popping from one place to another.
Yeah.
If we need to explain it, I'm going to get an airship. that is only capable of dropping you off in the vicinity of the adventure, but is not used in the adventure at all.
Right. Well, you can have it that be their patron. Their patron controls the airship. Their patron controls where it goes.
Right. I'm also thinking of the reason that everybody's together is an adventures guild.
Oh, that's a classic idea.
Yeah. So they're going to go to the Keep on the Borderland to register as it's the nearest place they can go to register as heroes.
What if the airship is the guild hall?
That's perfect. That way they can't claim use of the airship like, oh, can we fly over this area and just throw bombs and magic missiles down on the ground? Yeah, I don't want them to abuse the airship, but I do want it as an excuse to get from point A to point B, because while there's a lot of adventures already translated to 5th edition, they don't follow in order or in location. One might be on the East Coast, and the next one's the North Desert, and you're like, going, desert? No.
We were just in the Arctic.
Right. How did we get from here to there? Well, the excuse is the guild airship delivered you, and you're going to go find the adventure in that area.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, we're going to have a session 0 at the beginning.
Yeah.
Or a session 0.5, and I need to get all the information I need to get to them as quickly as possible. So I'm trying to think of ways to not waste time. I want the 0 part of the session to be no more than half an hour.
Right.
Because at Uncle's in the Valley, Spokane Valley, at 5 p.m. on Tuesdays is when we're supposed to start. People like to show up late for some reason.
Yeah.
Especially on these pop-in ones. And so I'm lucky if I can get started at 5:30.
Yeah.
Now, since I'm doing a campaign, I should be getting people who are signing up for the long haul.
That's not always the case, though.
It's not always the case. Do you know how many groups I've lost because somebody decided to move? Like, how dare they get a better life? We have a game to play. Anyways.
That's one of the reasons that ended the Curse of Strahd game that I was in.
Yeah.
I left Florida. And other reasons.
It's really hard to continue when the dungeon master ups and moves away.
Oh no, I wasn't even the dungeon master. I was one of the players.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you ruined it for everyone.
No. That was just one of the things that ruined the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts and suggestions? Because it starts at 5 and ends at 7:30 if everybody shows up on time. And the 7:30 part doesn't move.
Right.
So I have between 2 hours and 2.5 hours per session per week. It slows the campaign down.
Yeah, you're going to have fast rotations.
Yeah. That's one of the things I'm going to bring up. Be ready for your turn when it's your turn.
So, how are you planning on what's the word? Generating characters?
That is an excellent question, because that is where one of the problems exists. So I have 3 methods that we can do.
Yeah.
You can, and in this case, for the campaign purposes, they're all going to be first level characters anyways. If you want to come into my game tomorrow, you either take a 4th level pre-generated character, or you take a 3rd level character that you create. And you hopefully either brought it in yourself, or we're going to have to take the time to create it, which justifies that you starting at a lower level for the time cut.
Yeah.
But, so on the campaign, you can either in advance pre-generated character and upload it to my D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
Because I need to see your characters. I had a player, I swear to God, he was making changes to his character constantly. To the point that his name changed, his race changed.
I've heard of players who do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, I finally found your character. I'm pulling it up, and I said, no, your character is this race, not that race. No, you don't have that ability.
So this is just getting it to no, I'm not going to quote that movie.
All right.
I'm not going to quote the movie, but there is something to be said about presentation. Okay, and I'm thinking, especially you like the idea of well, it's a guild hall in an airship. Registration includes there's a letter at every table, and you could you can send out the letters as well. The letter has all the information that you needed to, build a character, or, it has these are rules for for building your characters, and where to submit it. And you have a list of like maybe 5 pre-gens in there that if you don't have a character ready, here's some pre-gens for you.
Well, yes. So the 3 methods for the thing here, whether or not, because I really don't want them to start on the airship.
Right.
They register at the guild hall there, and then later the airship shows up to take them to other places. And it's the main guild hall.
Yeah.
But there are minor guild halls everywhere, except in Greyhawk.
Call it satellite guild halls.
Yeah, satellite guild halls.
Yeah, or have them show up, and make it look like, oh, this is a guild hall. No, this is just the satellite. You're here to register. You'll be picked up soon.
Then, at the end of that section, we bring in the airship, and then they fly. But as far as your character creation choices are, you bring one you've already done.
Yeah.
You take a pre-gen, or this one I recommend for the people who have never played.
Yeah.
You start with the placards where you have a half-done pre-gen.
Okay.
And you add the little bit of details, and you get cards. Equipment cards, spell cards.
Yeah. Feed cards.
Everything is on these cards, so that you don't even have to write anything down for the most part. With
the exception of maybe your name.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And even then, I can put a sticky note there.
Right.
So that nobody's writing anything permanently on these cards. But after you've done all that, we might be able, we can talk about transcribing it. But just to get you started, we'll be using the half pre-gen.
Yeah.
If people just don't want to even do the half pre-gen, we'll do a regular pre-gen. If you want a all my own, I created it from scratch character, then hopefully you'll either bring it to save us time, or you will have to take a long time during the first part of the session.
I would actually argue, unless everyone is building characters, if you've got even 2 or 3 people ready to go, yeah, someone else can go build their character, but they're not playing at that session.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I'm thinking that if you want a non-pre-gen character, and I advertise this on Facebook, then you bring a pre-done character.
Yeah.
I want to get in the safety tools real quick.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, now if you guys need a full written out code of conduct, go to rpgresearch.com/COC. And you can use that as your code of conduct.
Yeah.
But basically, if it's if it would get you in trouble with the store, or with the law, don't do it at my table.
Yeah.
Don't swear. PG-13 minus the F-bomb if you can.
Correct.
Then we'll get started. Now the module I've got to run on the day one, you made it into a PDF for me.
Yeah, so I converted it. I converted that particular campaign from all digital to something that you can print out easily.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to try to shy away from the electronics as much as possible.
Yeah.
If a person has a legitimate reason that they need to do not do paper, then of course that I will make exceptions for that to as much as possible.
Yeah.
But if he's like, well, I really can't bring my character sheet back and forth to home, I'll keep your character sheet.
Yeah.
I'll even provide you minis. I'm literally going to provide everything you need to play except the butt to sit on. That's on you.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are prosthetics.
You still have to bring your own.
Yeah.
I don't care what your seating arrangement is, but
yeah,
you need to be able to sit down or remain seated in your wheelchair, whatever. I'm not sure that I'm going to come across somebody who's got like
Hank Hill. Hank Hill from King of the Hills, where he has negative butt.
Well, he has no shins.
No, that's his father.
Yeah, his father. Well, somebody who physically can't sit down.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
If it is an issue, then I'll address it then. But basically, all I ask you to do is to come to the table, sit down. I will provide everything else you need.
Yeah.
We've been doing that with RPG research for a long time. We have these kits with extra dice, extra pencils, extra character sheets, miniatures, everything that you could possibly need as a player. We even have extra players' handbooks and stuff like that.
We do try to be as accommodating as possible.
Yeah. I've been trying not to carry my handbooks, though I want to take them. But if somebody can figure, I need a bag of holding.
We all do.
If I had a bag of holding and I can reduce the weight of my books to 5 pounds, I would bring them all.
I've been contemplating getting, like going to thrift stores and whatnot, and getting one of the wheelie suitcases that you take onto the planes and converting that into a kit.
Well, you see what I took a tool kit.
Oh yeah, you have two.
Yeah, I have two. One of them is heavier.
Oh yeah.
Than 5 pounds. Empty.
Oh, trust me, I know you have me picking it up.
If I could.
Something tells me that the only reason why you wanted me at your game is just so that you'd have me picking up that stuff.
That's actually not true. I have everything in R2D2 now.
Yeah.
Except for the spell templates and
I'm really hoping that we can find a better thing than just the bag for that. But I feel like a lot of those are very fragile.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be nicer to have that. I can't put them all in one container because the option is then I have to carry something like the Destroyer, as my son calls it. That big, huge, blocky. Yeah,
it looks like something that Star Wars, Imperial. It looks like something Darth Vader would. You know what? One is going to be R2D2. The other one's Darth Vader.
I have tried that. My son. We might call it Darth Vader, but my son is going to forever call him the Destroyer.
The Destroyer. Okay.
Yeah. But my R2D2 is perfectly adequate if I don't bring spell templates.
Yeah.
What are your suggestions to make a session 0 as short as possible?
Well, I've already told you that I like meeting with players individually because I feel like
I'm running a game in a store.
Right. So in a store.
Now for my home games, I can do that.
Right. So in a store, this is what I'd present. Okay. I would have at each position a pre-generated character. And I would hold on to, these are if you want to make a character, these are the rules. And everyone either, they can either, in the advertising, have already come with their character, done according to the rules, or they can play a pre-gen.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, my pre-gens will be first level variants of the D&D cartoon characters.
Yeah.
The half-built pre-gens are going to be fighter, magic user, thief, and cleric.
So fighter, mage, wizard, and cleric. Yeah.
And the reason for that is because that's what they provide in the kit.
Yeah.
There's 8 plates, 2 for each class, but it's only those 4 classes.
Yeah.
Now, I've already asked Wizards of the Coast to provide those additional ones as maybe promo materials.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be so bad for them to add another 4.
If they do it in blocks of 4, I think that it'd take them, 3 releases, and then the Artificer. So 4 releases.
Right.
Yeah.
But
they've got
no,
12
these would
characters.
be separate.
Yeah.
And I want, if it wasn't so expensive, I'd buy 2 just to get extra spell cards. And next week when we do our unboxing, I'm going to show you some spell cards that cost a little more than $30 to get the digital copy of. I see you scowling there. That's a lot of money for a PDF.
Yeah, I'm also kind of thinking, because I've used spell cards before, and for me the benefit is having the spells in front of me. Digital, I already have the spells in front of me.
Right.
Digital spell cards seem a bit redundant to me.
Well, they're not meant to be digital spell cards.
Okay.
They're meant to be print your own spell cards.
Ah, okay.
So I've already printed the ones that I need for tomorrow's game.
Yeah.
And the ones I need for the next half of our next Saturday session. I haven't printed all of them because that's a lot of printing. But the artwork on the cards is an Art Deco gorgeous illustration of every spell.
Nice.
The illustration works with the spell.
That reminds me, someone was talking about in terms of modern art, human historical art styles. What art styles elves and dwarves would be, and I believe they were saying Art Deco, which is I think very boxy. That would be dwarven, but Art Noir would be elven.
Well,
I may be mispronouncing it.
This particular Art Deco is not architecture.
Okay.
So it's the illustrations that occurred around the time. These gorgeous full color illustrations of people that just have that certain feel. The dwarves would be Art Deco in architecture and equipment, but their paintings would only be Art Deco in the form of the frames.
Yeah.
The art themselves would be realistic portraits. This is my opinion. And maybe landscapes, not necessarily above ground landscapes, like crystal caves, things like that. But they would primarily be portraits.
I get the feeling like dwarves would also have...
Oh yeah, schematics.
There's a way to do artwork where you're working off of very specific ratios and rules and whatnot. So I feel like they'd have a lot of, for example, golden ratio type motifs in there where everything is structured just so.
Oh, I almost did a bad thing. The artwork that I'm talking about, I was going to show you an example.
Oh, don't do that.
Yeah, that would be a spoiler.
That'd ruin it. Yes.
Yeah, I want to surprise you.
Okay.
But there's 9 PDFs. No, 10 PDFs.
Okay.
Because cantrips.
Ah, yes.
So there's one for each level. There are some spells that are missing and they're all 2024 rules, but there are some that are missing, and I suspect that they're missing because they're not in the SRD.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, they're gorgeous. They're going to be useful. They're only useful if you print them out and make them into actual cards.
Okay.
Otherwise, I have done this before. Is I've made mini spell books.
I have too.
Yeah.
I've actually been working on. I've been trying to work on Krita's spell book. Yeah.
Oh, and there are things that you can print out that make that spell book stuff. There's also spell books that are for cards. Putting these Art Deco cards, they're bigger than a normal playing card.
Okay.
So you would have to have a maybe a, what did you call it yesterday or the last time we were talking on here? You put pictures, scrapbooking.
Scrapbooking, yeah.
So you get a scrapbook, so you can put one on each page. But you're going to need, no, scrapbook's not good because you can only see one side at a time.
Yeah.
But you want to have sleeves in there where you can put them all in.
Yeah.
And then you have your spell book. Or, if you're really creative, you can bind them into a book.
Oh, yeah.
As regular.
I know of some people who are very much into bookbinding, but I know it's going to be a bit of an involved process.
It can be.
Yeah.
I've made books before. I've made paper before.
Ah.
I've made
paper mache before.
Well, that's different than actually creating the paper to be used in the paper mache.
Yes.
What I'm printing are on cardstock. Like you saw with the miniatures that I want to be stiff. That was 2 layers of cardstock and glue to get those nice, stiff, more durable miniatures. This is what I'm thinking, getting back to the main topic of this conversation.
Yeah.
Is that I am going to supply everybody things, but I'm also going to give everybody a link.
Yeah.
If you communicate with me prior to the game, I can give you the link early and you can get the information early.
Yeah.
But a lot of the things is, here's the simple rules. This is what the campaign's going to feel like.
Yeah.
And here's a card with the website link or the Google Drive link, so you can get the information that you would know as a player to include what are the house rules.
Yeah.
And things like that. Because I'm going to use my critical hit cards. I love those things.
I know you do.
It just improves the game.
I rarely get to see the critical hit on my side, but yeah.
Yeah. Caleb last week.
Oh, what happened?
He had like 6 critical hits.
Nice.
He got 2 of the non-combat cards, and he got 4 critical hit cards because he was just rolling hot.
Yeah.
He had so many 20s.
I kind of figured with what I know what was coming, it was going to be a rough battle, but to know that he had that many crits, good. Yeah.
Well, they haven't fought the male.
Okay, so that's still up.
That's still up.
Okay.
And I got plans for him.
Okay. Well, he did go with him, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's waiting in the last room, as final battles always are.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you guys get done with that, we get to go to your destination, Far Shore.
Yay!
And where you're going to have enough civilization to just start doing some trading.
Yeah.
Now, admittedly, some of the trading may take you 90 days to get your item back.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing will be bastions.
Yeah.
You're going to finally have homes.
Yay!
Outside of living on the ship. For how long now?
I don't have my notes with me.
It's been months.
It's been months, yeah.
And I don't mean just game time. It's been in-game months.
Months, yeah.
Yeah. But it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to the next couple sessions.
Good. I need to start designing. For the bastions, are you? We'll talk about that after the show.
Okay.
Yeah. I have some plans for Krita and the bastion. Yeah. Anything else you're working on today?
Well, things that I'm going to be working on when I get home.
Yeah.
I need to get out the invitations to our next board meeting.
Oh, yes, there's that.
So I'll get out the invitations to the next board meeting, and then I'm also got to finish up my proposal for a fundraising effort.
Yeah.
That I need to get published probably by the 1st as well, so that everybody will have had time to read it.
Yeah.
In advance.
And when's the next board meeting?
Dun dun dun. Give me a second.
I know that I've been working with Hawk over the last few days. One, helping a friend of his move, but also try to build a deck that the sheds that we're planning on using to store a lot of things that we have in storage right now on Hawk's property. So,
right.
If you've seen me
we lost
yawning,
the community center,
yeah,
we lost a place to put everything.
Yeah,
we have to pay for storage right now, which is significantly less time than putting it in, or specifically less expensive than putting it in the community center.
Yeah.
Community center was just way too much.
Yeah, between insurance and the increasing rent, and it was too much of a hassle.
Okay, so Thursday, September 25th at 6 p.m. The public's allowed to go there, but you'll have to email me at info.rpgresearch.com and put the either talk show in the tab, in the subject line, so that we know who you're trying to talk to.
Yeah.
Or you can put board meeting.
Yeah.
And I will be able to pull those out and give you, talk to you, find out why you're coming. You're welcome to come, but I would like to know a little bit about who you are before you show up.
Right.
If you're coming there to sell us typewriters, and that's why you want to come to the board meeting, you are officially disinvited.
I don't know. I don't know. Depending on the typewriter, it may be a really good prop for Call of Cthulhu.
That's a conversation that I can have with the salesman.
Yes.
Not with the board meeting.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Understandable.
I'm all about free speech with appropriate time and place restrictions.
Right.
And the board meeting is not the time for you to shill your stuff.
Yeah. So that reminds me of the difference between the different stats. Intelligence is knowing what a tomato is. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. Charisma is getting someone to buy a tomato-based fruit salad.
Right. It's called salsa.
There's the bard. Okay, so after this, we are going to be going into an interview with Valerie from BCI RPG. She's the project manager for that, and I believe she's also looking for help with it. There's a rotation of people who come and go, and right now they're a bit low. So I've told her that I will help her find people to help work on BCI RPG. And after that, we have the unboxing and traps and riddles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just a quick note for people who want to help with the BCI project. We are looking for people to contribute to the work, not just lurking or scraping data.
Yeah. We've had a few people who came in and they pushed one update and that's it, and they're just padding the resume. And we understand that sometimes you need stuff on the resume, but we're trying to do something here.
Yeah, and it will look much better on your resume if you could get a recommendation from us.
Yeah.
Or if you can actually state that you contributed.
Mm-hmm. If you can articulate what you did, and we're talking about brain-computer interfaces where there's electrodes around your head that reads brain patterns, and interfacing with a computer that way, that doesn't involve surgery, being able to speak on that, I think, may be able to help you, but, that's just me.
Well, are we ready to get on with the interview?
Yeah, we will see you after the interview with the traps and riddles. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. Just have today off, so just kind of hanging out.
Okay. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yep. I am Valerie Kreppel. I am the team lead for our electronic RPG project at RPG Research.
Okay. I've got some questions here. What did you call it again?
So we have a couple different names for it, but we call it the electronic RPG project. RPG, of course, being role-playing games.
Yeah.
It's also been referred to as the BCI RPG, as in Brain Computer Face RPG project.
Okay. And well, how long have you been working with RPG Research?
I joined in 2018, so it's been about 8 years. My math is bad. 7 years.
7 years? Okay. Did you have any previous experience with role-playing games before this?
I did have some experience, but just recreationally. So RPG Research was the first organization where I joined to look at more uses for role-playing games than just recreation.
Okay. What was that experience with role-playing games? Anything specific?
I had really just played some basics, like some D&D at with some friends. So I didn't have experience with very many systems. Yeah, it was fairly limited before I joined.
Okay. And for me, I find this a bit interesting because it's very. I've played electronic role-playing games before, but I feel like what we are, or at least what I keep on hearing that you guys are doing with BCI, I know it is BCI project, is interesting. Why did you get involved?
Well, so originally I had joined RPG Research as actually as a play tester, sort of. So my job was to help train game masters by pretending to be different archetypes of like players, just so that people could get used to playing with what we might call someone who's a little more difficult to like play with at a table. So my job was to behave poorly, but I was going to college at the time, and I was interning at a game production company. And so Hawk had approached me to bring up the electronic RPG project because it was something that RPG Research had been wanting to do for years. I think the project was originally conceived of in the 90s.
Yeah.
So it had been put on hold because there was no one to lead it. So when I had started getting involved in game production, Hawk asked if I would be interested in leading this team. So that's when I transferred over to the ERPG project as opposed to working more with the GMs on like the tabletop role playing stuff.
Okay, so you've had in going to college, had a history, experience with video games already.
Correct. Yeah, I was originally planning on entering into the video game production as a full-time job.
Okay, are you still connected that way?
I am not. The crunch time in the industry and like I found it's very clicky to get into certain gaming companies. It was a bit of a turnoff for me, so I ended up going more admin, which is actually quite similar to game production. It's just you're doing admin not for a game anymore. You're doing admin for something else. So it's I view it as very similar work, but I chose I chose to go into an industry where my skills were a little bit more generically useful rather than specializing for gaming.
And I have a similar experience with that. I don't know if you knew my history with animation, where I really can only count one decent job I've had as an animator, and the rest has just been me bashing my head against the wall. Yeah. So back to why did you pick this up? The electronic role playing games.
Well, so it was a better fit for me, particularly at the time, because I was no longer able to do in-person RPG research. I was going to college in California as opposed to where we're headquartered in Washington. So it was quite hard for me to continue volunteering with RPG research for a position that is really best in person.
Yeah.
So when the offer to like kind of do the ERPG project came up, it seemed like a better fit because it was more in my wheelhouse in terms of skills, and it was also much easier to do remote. I also really liked the kind of freedom that I had in joining this kind of branch of RPG research because it was new, and one of my big responsibilities was building out the team and kind of working to figure out what are our goals, how are we setting this up. The BCI RPG branch of RPG research does function very independently from everything else. So
I've noticed.
that sort of independence is kind of a big draw of the position for me because it's like I can just focus in on this very small group of people that I know and work with, and we can kind of run how we need to run.
Yeah, there's a certain freedom in having that type of flexibility when you're not being constrained by, and sometimes it feels arbitrary limitations.
Right, and yeah, I think it's more in that like maybe I should say rather than independent, self-sufficient is maybe the right word. It's like we don't have to be constantly reaching out to be like, oh, we need this information that's being like worked with this other branch of RPG research because no one else is really touching this project besides us.
Yeah.
So we're not really relying on anyone else. If something's not getting done, it's because we're not doing it, right?
I get that. I get that. So what for people who are not familiar with the brain computer interface BCI, I know that you told me earlier that you're not on the technical side with it, with programming and whatnot. Could you explain what it is? How does it work? To the best of your understanding.
Yeah. So BCI or brain computer interface, it has there are different forms that it takes. Similarly to if you say, well, I'm working on a computer, there are a lot of different computers that you could be working on, right? So BCI is a device that sort of monitors the way that your neurons are firing, because when your neurons pass information between each other, they set off a very small electric current. So the BCI detects that current and is able to translate it into a command. Of course, using a BCI requires a lot of training for the user, because it's not everyone can just go, I'm thinking about doing this thing very hard, and that translates really well into what the BCI does. But essentially, what it is it's just reading those brain waves and catching that current to understand when something is happening in your brain. In terms of what a BCI what it is, there are a couple different versions. When we talk about it for our project, mostly what we're talking about is like this helmet type. It looks like all these little nodules connected by these sort of bars. You just pick it up, you put it on your head, and then that's how it monitors your neurons firing. There are other versions of BCIs that are a little bit more permanent, that can be like attached either into the brain or the outside of the head. We don't talk about those for this project because those are not really used recreationally, right? But they function, in terms of programming, they function the same.
So that actually gets into my next question that I have from John here. So the ones that we're using aren't invasive.
The ones that we're testing aren't invasive because none of us need a BCI in our day-to-day lives. So we are looking at the BCI from a recreational standpoint because we're making a game that is compatible with a BCI. But there are people who do need BCIs in their day-to-day life because it's giving them the ability to communicate, or giving them more functionality than they have, because BCIs are designed for people who are not mobile for whatever reason. So, yeah, we test on things that are not invasive because none of us are going to get a BCI installed in our brains. But there are other versions of BCIs that are more invasive. Just depends on whether you need it or not.
Okay. So, I'm guessing the purpose of BCI would be, at least for us, and the very concept is for accessibility.
Yes, BCI is entirely an accessibility tool. There are some people who might use a BCI just because they like it, but really it's created for people who don't have control of their hands, because they can't use a controller to play, at least in the frame of electronic RPGs. That's what a BCI would be for.
I do know that when I spoke with Hawk a couple of weeks ago for his interview, he mentioned that he had an experience with someone who had locked-in syndrome, where their brains were functioning properly, just they couldn't move. So the BCI would be really, really useful for them.
Correct, yeah.
And for I know of some people who would take the invasive BCI just for the thrills of it, but we're not intending people to enter the Matrix.
Right. And we're not creating this. I mean, it's the project that we're doing, again, is it's BCI compatible, but it's not BCI exclusive. So we're not creating a project to be like only people who are using BCI can play this game.
Yeah.
We are creating a game, and we want people who can only play games through BCI to be able to join in on it.
Okay. I feel like that's useful because I've seen some accessibility options in video games before where they only exclusively pitch it to the people who are, who have the accessibility issue, but the general populace doesn't catch on, and then they kind of falter because the general they're not getting the eyes on it that other people may find interest or find useful.
Yeah, and that is kind of a consistent thing. Actually, that's why a lot of infomercials, this is maybe a little just tangential, but a lot of infomercials will be like, oh, I'm a person and I can't open this jug of milk and I'm having a terrible time. And you're watching, you're like thinking like, what is wrong with this person? It's because that product isn't really invented for that person. It's invented for people who genuinely need help with whatever it's doing, but because they're trying to sell it to a broader audience, they have to make it seem like it's everybody has this problem all the time, even if they don't necessarily do.
And I'm actually happy that you brought that up because I knew that about the infomercials. They're always just sometimes bizarre to watch if you don't know that a lot of them are accessibility options.
Right, yeah.
Like, I specifically remember there was one where they had a clamp around a jar, and a lever, and I'm thinking, well, I could just twist. But if you're thinking someone that doesn't have the grip strength,
Right.
then they may need something like that.
Right. Yeah. So it's all about like how they're choosing to market those, which with this project is not as much of an issue because if you're creating a game, it's like, well, people want to play a game, right? Like
Yeah.
everyone can play a game, and again, the point of this is not we're making a game only for people who need accessibility, but we're making a game for everybody, and that includes people who need accessibility.
Okay. So in terms of the game, I knew that we, for example, started with Neverwinter Nights.
Right.
Okay, would you mind walking us through the what's happened with it, the history since you've been on?
Right. So I've been on since the beginning. So
Yeah.
in terms of development, when we first started this project, we spent quite a decent amount of time just sitting down to talk about like what do we actually want this project to be, how are we splitting up development because we are entirely volunteer run.
Yeah.
Everyone's a volunteer, so we can't exactly guarantee a timeline, right? Because we don't know how many developers we're going to have. We don't know how much time they can actually commit to the project.
Mm-hmm.
So we did a lot of this sort of forethinking to talk about like how do we make this project useful to developers who are coming on to get skills, and how do we make it so it's something that they want to continue doing. We ended up breaking the project into 3 phases. So phase 1 was in Neverwinter Nights. Phase 2 is a text-based game, like very old school games where they don't have any graphics. It's all just the text interface.
Yeah.
And then phase 3 is where we'd add in the graphics. So yes, we did start in Neverwinter Nights primarily because Neverwinter Nights has the Aurora tool set, which allows you to build out modules. So we kind of created the full game in the Aurora tool set, so we have an idea of how we wanted like the plot to go. So we had some point of reference for what we were coding.
Yeah.
That particular phase didn't take that long because we're using an existing tool set to just build a reference point. Phase 2 is where we were taking that sort of reference and then saying, okay, well, now we need an actual text-based game. So we were building out the game and the tool set. That's where we are right now. And then phase 3 will be adding in graphics, which we're not worried about until we finish at phase 2.
Okay. Now, you mentioned in our previous conversations that you're actually looking for more developers right now?
Yes, we kind of go in waves with developers. Actually, usually this time of year is when we onboard more. I think it's because people are kind of getting out of like summer break, and so they start we get a lot of like collegiate students who are looking to build out their resumes.
Mm-hmm.
So we are at a phase right now where we want to start onboarding more developers so we can work a bit more we're right now on this sort of tool set side. So I'm actually going to pause on this question to explain how we've the project itself is set up.
Oh, by all means.
We have obviously we have a playable game side, which, as I've mentioned, for this phase is just going to be all text, so it's a text-based interface. But the thing that we are really focused on is our module builder. So similar to how Neverwinter Nights has the Aurora toolset, we are building something in the same vein. Of course, it is not a one-to-one copy because the end product is so different.
Yeah.
We're building a module builder that you can create a game to then port over to the playable game side.
So you're building the tools to build the game.
Yes. So
Okay.
we have the framework of like the playable game. We have the user interface for that. We don't have a game to play because we're now working on the tool set so that we can create the game that's playable on the other side. So it's a little which comes first, the chicken or the egg, because we have we have a playable game side of it with no game. So we are currently working on this module builder, and that is a much larger piece of the pie than the playable game side. So we're spending most of our coding time on that, and we're just trying to onboard some more developers to kind of help speed that along. Yeah, we're using we're using the Godot platform, which is like a lot of people are familiar with Unity as the primary like game development platform. We're using Godot just because we feel that it ports out to more end systems, it was a little bit better fit for our project because we're doing a text-based game right now, and Unity is very graphical, whereas Godot has like the ability to code in nodes and things like that.
Okay.
So yeah, we are onboarding people who are basically just looking to learn more, but have experience with a language similar to the base language of Godot, which is GD script, which is an easy thing to do because GD script is very similar to Python, which is most people's first coding language.
See, I feel bad because, like, I have some history with coding as well, but I'm yet to touch Python. I started with, well, literally basic and some C++. So I know that it's not a coding language, but I treat it as such. I use, like, for example, object-oriented programming when I do my JavaScripting.
Mm-hmm.
So mine is more C-based, but for me, Python is it might as well be Greek to me.
Well, and the interesting thing about GD script is that it borrows from multiple languages. So the reason I'm kind of looking off the side here is I'm pulling up the list of the languages that it borrows from.
Yeah.
So Python, JavaScript are the two big ones, but also C Sharp, Lua, and TypeScript are similar to GD script. So it's a pretty broad range. Even for myself, who I'm not strictly a coder, I did learn Python, or at least the beginnings of Python.
Yeah.
It's an easy enough language to get a hang of if you have experience in one of these other ones, because the similarities are, it's like a very shallow learning curve.
Okay. Okay. That's no. That's I don't know how to judge the shallow learning curve because some people it's easy, some people are hard. I remember in college there was one person who kept on saying that directors it's an easy learning curve, and I kept on bashing my head against that wall, and no, I could never wrap my head around it. But once I jumped over to action script in Flash, that made more sense to me.
Well, maybe I'll put it this way. We've had a number of developers, I want to say probably at least 30 on this project throughout the years. None of them have had an issue transferring over into GD script. Like, and again, we are volunteer based, so we're not giving anybody hard deadlines. It's like, hey, if you need to take a bit of time to learn GD script and play around with it, please do.
Yeah.
But when we get into meetings and we're asking questions, even with people who are new to the project, the questions that are coming up are not like, I don't understand how GD script works. It's like, okay, well, let's talk about the intricacies of how we're establishing a multiplayer server.
Yeah.
Right. So the script is not the barrier to the project. The barrier to the project is that we're trying to do a lot of complex things, and it just takes people kind of learning to think about code the right way.
Right. Right. Let's see here. What do you have coming up next with the project?
Well, so right now we're in, we've laid the groundwork for the module builder, but what we really need to start working on is sort of establishing these like creation wizards within the module builder. So that's going to be the big thing. And I expect, honestly, this will be probably several months of just working on this for the future. And it does depend on how many developers we end up onboarding. But the near future is primarily with the module builder. Once that is finished, we're going to create the entire game similar to how we did in Neverwinter Nights. Create that in our module builder to test it, obviously do any debugging that needs to happen there, and then port it over. Honestly, and once that is done, that means that our phase 2 is done, and kind of the project is ready for release. We are, of course, talking about releasing in phases. We're building everything very modularly so that we can always add on more features. But the baseline, we're calling the MVP, or the minimum viable product, is just to get this text version ready, because then we can do like a full demo of it. We're hoping that at that point we'd have a lot more interest, onboard more people to help with the graphics and that sort of thing.
Okay. Now, we've been circling the idea of the game. What is the game?
So the game itself, we're creating this sort of as a demonstration of all the different facets that the project is capable of. So when we created this, obviously we wanted it to be recreational, but we are RPG research. We do have heavy focus on education and therapy. So the project also needs to have those elements in it, or at least be capable of something related to education and therapy. So the project, and a big reason of why we created the module builder, is designed so it can be used in an educational setting. So let's say we're trying to teach a group of kids history.
Yeah.
You can build the history into a module and play the module, and now the kids are playing history, and they're more likely to absorb that information because it's done in an entertaining way.
Mm-hmm.
And then in terms of therapy, we're looking to sort of help track behaviors within the system. So we're doing all this, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the test game so that I can explain what I mean by
Yeah.
tracking
Yeah,
behaviors.
that's kind of what I was trying to get to.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
also trying to get there. So we are using Shakespeare's The Tempest as our kind of tester game. So we're following the track of The Tempest to provide that sort of educational aspect. Like, look, you can teach your classroom about The Tempest. They can be more involved in like actually experiencing the story through this game. But we're giving them choices, right? Because it's a game. We don't want to completely railroad them.
Yeah.
So let's say they have faced a character, and the character is acting kind of aggressively towards them. We might give them 3 options. Just for the demo, we do 3. You can include as many as you want if you're building your own.
Yeah.
But option 1 is to try and like negotiate and reason with this person. Option 2 is to leave and like not mess with them anymore. And option 3 is to start a fight.
Mm-hmm.
We would tag each of these choices with different behaviors. So if they're starting a fight, we might tag that as a more violent prone behavior. If they're trying to negotiate, we would tag that as more of a peacekeeping behavior. So that in the background, players aren't going to see this, but moderators of this game would be able to see, oh, this player has a tendency towards like way more violent decisions. Like we have these 15 different decisions, and like 10 of them have been flagged as violent. That's now a therapeutic tool.
Yeah.
And if they're playing the game multiple times, you might be able to see how that behavior shifts over time, how they start leaning more towards camaraderie and like team building.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this is just a demo, so nothing that we make is going to be like, yes, you can absolutely use this demo game for your therapy sessions, because it's really not designed for that. It's designed to showcase what it can do.
Okay.
It's not because when you're aiming to show that it's recreational and that it's educational and that it's therapeutic, it's not going to be like 100% perfect at any one of those 3 things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just more a demonstration a demonstration of what this project is capable of, and then once you hone in on like what you want it to actually do, you can use the module builder to really put out something that will meet those goals.
Okay. That actually kind of reminds me that there was a game that I not too recently ago completed my first run through, and I do intend on coming back to it. But I kind of wished that it had those markers with the decisions that I was making, because at the end of the game, it's a D&D based game. I kind of wish that they told me what my alignment was.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm talking about Baldur's Gate 3 here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know, was I an evil character? Was I a lawful character? I was trying to go based off of what I felt that character would do, and I was trying to I was hoping, I guess I was given misinformation that I was told that I'd be able to see what my alignment was after completed the game. So I figured if I play this character how I felt they'd play, I'd get a better understanding of where the Baldur's Gate 3 crew felt that alignment was. But I was disappointed. Just with that, Baldur's Gate 3 is still amazing. And I do remember especially in the Aurora system for Neverwinter Nights, it's one of my all-time favorite role-playing games, electronic role-playing games. It allowed you to track what your alignment was.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is sort of obviously that is included in the project, not necessarily the alignments as we know them for D&D,
Yeah.
the chaotic and neutral, good and evil. Obviously that is a feature, but we, particularly for therapeutic uses, are maybe not always showing the player what that is, because you don't always want them to like game the system, right? So if they know that a particular thing is going to get them like a peacekeeping option, they might choose it to get the good score and not because that's the choice they actually want.
So
like
it's a whole phenomenon of observed people know that they're being observed.
Right.
Yeah. It can get real funky because you want them immersed in the story so it can get their natural reactions. Yeah, so you don't always advertise that that's what you're looking at.
Right. Yeah, and we do try to, because one of the benefits of what we're creating is that it is in the form of a game. We've tried not to break immersion of the game at all by being like, oh, you've rolled this number, or like, oh, you've chosen this thing that we're flagging as violent. It just plays like a game, and then you get to the end, and you might get a little bit like, you might get some information based on how either the moderator of the game wants you to see, or how whoever created the module like wants that report to come out. But yeah, we're trying not to make it so obvious that like, oh, this is a test of what choices you're making. It's like you're just playing a game, right?
Yeah. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Some of the more interesting games, and this is one of the reasons why I like Baldur's Gate 3, is they gave complex decisions.
Right.
Where in some cases, I wouldn't see the reason to become violent, but other reasons are like, violence is looking like an option here.
Right. Yeah, and that's a lot of that's going to come down to whoever's building the module, and like how complex they want it to be, because if we're looking at this from a therapeutic standpoint, you might want to start with the easy questions and be like, okay, this is a pretty clear cut choice, so that we can see like how you're leaning. But you progress in therapy, you might want to look at something a lot more complex to see like, okay, are you still like maybe leaning more towards violence when it's a little bit more unclear what the right choice is. It's also, I mean, RPG research has talked a lot about using tabletop gaming as a way to kind of get people who are like socially anxious, give them a space to socialize without being too worried about consequences. And this is kind of this is that, right? So you can get more into like, oh, this is a really complex and like complicated situation that someone who has those anxieties might be like, if I was in this in real life, I would be like shutting down. But because you're now looking at it in an electronic RPG, it's not as threatening. So you're allowed to make those bad choices. And even if you do make something wrong, you're not facing real life consequences for it. You can just learn and get used to like having to deal with those types of situations.
Now, I know this is going to be a bit of a more complex question, but it just came to mind when we talked about, especially people who are socially anxious. Is the game single player, or is there going to be multiplayer aspects to it?
It's both. You can choose. So, obviously the ultimate goal is to have multiplayer, but we always want it to be like controlled groups in multiplayer. So as of right now, if we were to do like open servers, that's way far down in the scope. Not even going to be looking at it until like the completion of phase 3, and probably the completion of some other wish list items. But the hope is to, not the hope. The goal is to make this multiplayer for like small group settings. Because you're looking at education, you're not going to bring one kid in a classroom into this game. You want to bring the whole class into the game, right?
Well, there's benefits to both.
Them up. There are, but we looking at therapy, if you're choosing someone who like needs to learn to socialize with other people, just having them run against NPCs is not really going to help them that much. They need the ability to like work with real people. We haven't super talked about like the choice system for multiplayer, but we do have built into it sort of a randomizer for making choices, because it's all text based, right? So we have 4 players. a choice comes up on the screen, are we going left or right in the tunnel? Somebody has to make that decision.
Yeah.
So there's a whole system baked in there for if somebody makes a decision that you don't agree with. So, you have the member of the party who's more violence prone has chosen to initiate this fight. You can object to that and say, like, hey, I don't think we should do that, and here's why. And then if you come out of this conversation and you don't agree anymore, you can abstain from whatever they have chosen. And then anyone who has chosen to do this violent action would receive the consequences, except for those who have abstained. They would not receive the consequences, but they also wouldn't receive any rewards if it ends up being the right choice.
Okay, so it looks like you're trying. Those are tricky areas sometimes to navigate through, even in real
Right.
life. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, so you do have to make decisions about how you're going to do that, but when we look at this, we often look at the project from the lens of like, what is the most restrictive point that we're getting to? And so we look at it a lot from the therapy point of like, okay, well, if you're dealing with someone who's trying to learn something and is not fully grasping it and you don't agree with them, we don't want to create friction or needless friction within the group by pitting your players against each other as they're all trying to learn different behaviors.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to give them the time to like learn for themselves and be like, okay, I'm stepping out of this, without making two of the players feel like they're going to have to constantly go up against each other.
And I think that's a good middle ground between like full multiplayer where everyone is involved and responsible for the actions of the entire group, and single player where it's your decision and you're not accountable to anyone else.
Right.
Yeah, and I did want to mention that I think is especially for people who are socially anxious, getting them familiar with the system before you introduce the chaos that is other people.
Yeah.
Get them comfortable first before you throw them to the wolves. Yeah. So often you've been working at this for what, 7 years? You mentioned. Any particular highlights so far?
Interesting question. I'm thinking in terms of highlights of the project because it's so ongoing, right? We don't
Yeah.
have like we're not like, oh yes, this phase is done and that means that we have this like presentable project. I would say that in terms of this project, it's been really interesting because we started this when BCI was like new.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting learning more about that, and then also being like a lot of the times you kind of have to like smack yourself on the head and be like, okay, yes, we're creating this for BCI, but like that is not the only accessibility consideration we should be
Yeah.
doing in, because like sometimes you overlook like really simple things like, oh, you need the right color contrast when you're doing a text-based RPG because
Mhm.
like you have people who might be colorblind,
Yeah.
right? And that's still an accessibility feature. So um honestly, I think one of the more interesting things about this project is how accessible we're trying to build it out to be,
Yeah.
because it's just brought in so many considerations for the coding process that make it quite interesting. And I was actually just talking to someone when I was interviewing them to join our team about accessibility, and they were saying like we don't really touch on it in any of our college classes, which is why they were interested in joining this project, is that they
Okay.
wanted that experience. And I was like, that is definitely something that needs to be touched on, because like it's not hard to do, you just have to know to do it, right?
Yeah, if you're not trained to think about it, then you'll tend to. And I've seen this with a lot of people, and I'm not being judgmental. It's more a indictment of our society that a lot of people don't go around thinking or even considering it, the accessibility thing. So, for example,
Right.
I'll be walking down the street and I know, like, this is one of my go-tos. On the sidewalk, there's a lot of times there's these ramps that drop down into the street and then come back up, and a lot of people use it. Use it for shopping carts and skateboards and whatever. But that was primarily an accessibility issue for people in wheelchairs.
Well, yeah, and similarly, the little bumps at the edges of pavements are for people who have like sight issues,
Yeah.
so that they know that the sidewalk is ending there.
Oh, I wasn't aware
And
of that. Learn something new every day.
yeah, well, that it's all very like there are so many considerations because of ADA Act in that you see but you don't necessarily make that connection that this is not necessarily here for you. This is something that is here for a group of people who need it.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you don't understand its purpose, like, there is a reason for it.
Right, and sometimes even if you're not the intended group, you can still benefit from it
Right.
anyway. Because I'm not going to tell someone who's rolling the shopping cart, you can't use that ramp. It's specifically for wheelchair people. No, sometimes you're disabled one day, sometimes you're disabled another.
Right. I recently got an ankle injury, and it's like I had to use a cane for a while, and you would not believe, like, there's so many things that it's like you don't even think about how this would introduce difficulties until you have to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't permanently need a cane, but there are people who do, and because there are people who do, the considerations that were built in for them benefited me when I had an ankle injury.
Yeah, like I'm currently dealing with it's not a pulled hamstring, there's a knot in there, and my cat's food bowl is now so much farther. Now that I have to squat to go get it, and yeah. Any surprise accessibility issues that have come up that were really surprising for you?
There's nothing that's been hugely surprising so far, but I say that knowing that we haven't been deep into testing with BCI yet, because we've been coding for it, but again, we don't have a playable game. So what are you testing if you start playing in BCI? You're testing the menu, kind of.
Yeah.
So I would say, because we don't have a playable game, there haven't been huge surprises in like what we're missing in accessibility. But I imagine that once we start getting in there and start running like actual tests of like, okay, is this font like right for dyslexia? Is this, I guess that's stuff that we take into consideration when we're coding. But we have a number of tests that we're looking at to make sure that accessibility is good for the game. And I'm thinking that once we start playing the game, we might start catching more of this and being like, oh, I didn't even think about that when we were coding it.
Okay. Anything that you wanted to specifically add that we haven't touched on yet?
I just thinking about this game, because when I do onboarding sessions with new developers, it's like 2 hours of me just talking about the game. So thinking in terms, you know what, we haven't talked about one of the very interesting parts of this project, which is genre substitutions.
Okay.
So, well, and I guess to that, rule set substitutions as well. So we're trying to make this project very flexible. And what I mean by that is that there are studies that show that sometimes people will avoid playing a game just because they don't like the genre that it's in.
Yeah.
And so we've built into this project the ability to substitute genres or like change genres without changing the story at all.
That's
so,
interesting.
Yes, for the example I always use when we're onboarding is, if you look at the sentence, he fired the laser gun. The only thing in that sentence that makes it fit into sci-fi is laser gun. So if we tag laser gun as being a sci-fi word, I can change that to a fantasy sentence by saying he fired the crossbow. Right?
Yeah.
It's a completely different setting. We've just changed the word, and you don't even necessarily have to change any of the stats of what that weapon is, right? Because they could both have like a hit chance of X%. They can both do the same amount of damage. You're just changing the name of the item, and suddenly it's a different genre. So that's one thing that we've included in this game that I haven't really seen anywhere else.
I haven't seen that much either. Normally, I've seen video games where they'll set up a story in a genre and they'll stick to the genre.
Right.
And whereas I like.
Partially,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it's because our phase 2 is entirely text, so it's very easy to make that because we're not making individual graphics for like each genre.
Yeah.
But when you're running text, you just change the name and it's fine.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is the ability to change game systems. So this is a little more complex, but we are making this as close to a tabletop role-playing game as possible. But of course, there are so many different types of role-playing games with different rules. They use different die to determine things. So if we look at like OpenD6, which is an open source license, role-playing game based off of a 6-sided die, the names of those stats are different when you roll. What you roll for is different than if we're looking at something like D&D.
Yeah.
You're looking at a 6-sided die versus a 20-sided die for a roll that basically does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to build out this system so that you can also say like, oh, I want to make an open D6 game, or I want to make a D&D game. Obviously, licensing with D&D, right? So I'm using this as an example, just because it is so well known. But we're doing that by kind of abstracting all the die rolls into percentages, so that you're technically rolling a percent, and then you're looking at the game system and saying, okay, well, this is a D6, so I'm in this range of like 0 to 12 and a half, and that means I've rolled a 1 on a D6. Whereas on a D20, I'm at 8%, and that means technically I'm a 2 on a D20 instead of a 1 on a D6.
Right.
So that also that took a little bit of, it's hard to wrap your brain around, like, we're not actually rolling a die, we're rolling a percentage, and then we're comparing that to the die. Building that in on the background took a little bit, but that and the genre substitution, I do think, make this game quite unique because of the flexibility that they introduce.
And I've because I've had, fortunately, between RPG research and just my own playing with role-playing games, I've seen how it isn't just for people who are, for example, familiar with there's a Dragon's D20 system. You roll a D20 to try and find success against a determined difficulty class. But when I go to, for example, White Wolf, where or World of Darkness, where their entire system determines success or failure at a different way, and understanding that you can switch that out, and you guys are trying to code that, I think that's interesting.
Yeah, it certainly is going to present a lot of maybe challenges in terms of testing, which is why, as with all things that we're doing, we're limiting to like a certain number of options for the MVP. So like with genres, we're starting with 3 genres, and we're not looking beyond that, even though there are a ton of different genres that we could.
Oh yeah, we don't want analysis paralysis here.
Right. And then same thing with game systems, is that we're sort of releasing with open source licensed game systems. It's like, okay, you can choose one of these. But as you get more into it, like, there are some games that don't even really roll a die. It's just like you have a positive, a neutral, or a negative.
Yeah.
So like, how do you abstract that into percentages? And the answer is split percentages into 33.3333. And then sort of determine it that way. But it is going to present it'll present some unique challenges on the back end, probably the further into the project we get, as we start trying to incorporate more and more systems.
Yeah. Okay. If someone was interested in applying as a developer, where would they go?
There are 2 places they can go. So we have a posting open on Volunteer Match. That's probably quite easy for them to find, but we also have it posted on RPG Research. We have a jobs board, and it'll be there, and they can just apply through there. And then, yeah, I've been basically just vetting people to see how interested they are in the project, where their developer skills are. And then it's a pretty easy ramp up into the group after that.
Okay. Any final things before we wrap this up?
No, I think that's it for me.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. It's been enlightening, and hopefully more success in the future.
Welcome back to the RPG Talk Show. We're going to go into Traps and Riddles.
Traps and Riddles. It's the Challenge and Champions 4 by Jonathan M. Richards. Artwork by Kyle Hunter. The cartographer is also Kyle Hunter.
Yes.
This came from Dungeon Magazine, March/April 2002, issue number 91, volume 14, number 1.
Yeah.
No, 16. It's volume 16.
Okay.
XVI. Each Challenge Champions is a series of 10 scenarios designed to test the leadership, adaptability, and cohesion of the adventuring group. These scenarios are of equal difficulty for everyone, regardless of level. So, what we're going to do right now is give you a very quick sense of the rules.
Mm-hmm.
You have no equipment or spells. Everything that you cast will be provided for you either through a scroll, a ring, or some other magical device.
Correct.
You will not have any armor. And again, everything you need will be provided, and it's all designed so that a first level character could possibly beat a 20th level character if they're smart enough.
Yeah.
All right, new rule, hints can be given, but you'll only get half points. For your first scenario last week, you got 40.
Nice.
If you had asked for a hint, you would have only gotten 20.
Yeah. Okay, and I have 4 characters that I'm playing. I have a champion fighter. His name is Michael Wildwalksarion. He's supposed to have a sense of humor, but I've been trying to find some time to inject any personality into these characters. These tests have been a bit tense at times. I also have Joannie the Firehearted Nyzanthar. She's an Evoker Wizard. I have also Geraldine Golden Dawn. She's a life cleric of Procan, the Greyhawk god of sea, weather, and navigation. She grew up around the docks, so she's the god of, the nightlife around the docks. And I also have Scotty Quickflash, which is a thief in a local guild.
Excellent. So, if you remember last time, we had to get to the bottom of the pit.
Yes.
You all succeeded, and walking through the door at the bottom of the pit, you are met by a guild rogue named Luther, who escorts you down to a corridor to the next scenario.
Mm-hmm.
You've decided to down one pit, he declares. For the next scenario, the goal is to climb out of the other. To enter the door to the far end of the corridor and step into a 20-foot square room with a potent magic circle etched into the floor.
Mm-hmm.
All sorts of magical symbols around the circle, and 5 burning candles provide the illumination. Go ahead and flip your illustration. It's over there.
Oh, there it is.
So that's what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Those at home will be able to see it on the screen.
There we go.
Yeah. Perspective is weird on these.
Oh yeah, that's
perspective.
That's isometric.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's actually beneficial because it's consistent and doesn't really warp with perspective.
Okay, here's the situation, he explains.
Yeah.
You're in the unenviable position of being at the bottom of this 30-foot deep pit where an evil necromancer performs his unholy rituals. 15 minutes from now, an old sleuth devil will appear in the middle of the magic circle and receive his payment for prior services rendered. You don't want to know. The payment consists of 500 pieces of gold, kept in one of these unlocked chests. Here, Luther indicates 2 small chests lined up against one wall, as well as 4 metal flasks of sovereign glue, kept in the other chest. Oh, of course, everyone's still in the room when it appears. Well, I'll do my best to make sure that you're not here when the barbed devil shows up, as its appetite is noteworthy.
So he was buying Girl Scout cookies.
I can't comment on that.
He wanted the Thin Mints, didn't he?
Of course, judging from the smoothness of these walls, climbing them is going to be difficult at best. See what you can do. Good luck.
So I have to get out of this 30-foot pit?
Yes, and you have 15 minutes.
Yes. I have this circle.
The room is illuminated by 5 burning candles spaced equidistant around the 18-foot diameter magic circle etched in the floor.
Yeah.
In addition, some light spills in from the top of the pit.
Okay.
The 2 chests are identical, each 2 feet long, 1 foot deep, and 1 foot tall. The room has no ceiling.
Okay. So I want... Repeat the dimensions of the chests.
2 foot by 1 foot.
2 foot by 1 foot.
2 foot... Well, they're 1 foot tall, 1 foot deep, and 2 feet long.
2 feet long. Okay. And 30 feet. Okay. I have a wacky idea. First thing, we're going to open up both chests because it didn't seem like either of them were trapped.
They're not locked or trapped.
Okay.
So you see in the one on the right, it is full of coins.
Yes.
The one on the left has 4 flasks of sovereign glue.
Okay.
And they're metal and they're labeled.
Yeah. I'm going to have my Evoker Wizard check to see if check. She wants to figure out if there's anything that could possibly be done to disrupt this circle as it is.
Roll an Arcana.
Arcana. Okay. Her Arcana bonus is a +8. I rolled a 10. That's an 18.
Excellent. This is etched into the stone floor. This is a permanent circle that you'd have to literally destroy the floor in order to disrupt the circle.
Okay.
There's no dust that you can shuffle your foot through, and it's too deeply engraved for you to take your fingernails and scratch it across any of the links.
So, would walking into the circle disrupt it?
Would it?
Okay, so we are going to. Michael is going to take the chest of gold pieces because this demon is expecting this payment. Just going to dump it into the center of the magic circle.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm guessing he's able to pick up the chest.
Yeah, it's a bit heavy, but he's got a strength greater than 10.
Okay, beautiful. He also wants to know if can Michael touch the top of the door?
The door is 8 feet tall at the top.
So 6 feet, 2 feet. Yeah, he could barely make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So 8 feet plus 2 feet is 10 feet. 8 feet plus 2 feet.
Look at the picture of the door. Does that look like it has a sill on it?
Oh, I'm not worried about that.
Okay, just asking.
I am not worried about that at all.
Excellent.
Okay, so we're going to take out the 4 flasks of Sovereign Glue. Okay, and Michael is going to pour it on the bottom of the chest and place it above the door.
Okay.
8 feet plus 2 feet is 10 feet.
Okay.
Okay. And there's, 4 other flasks? Okay. Once that's set, he's going to use the chest to climb up it.
Okay, I assume people help you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Michael is now standing a little more than 10 feet.
Right.
Because the bottom of it's at 10 feet.
The bottom of, yeah.
And the chest is 2 and I'm assuming you're putting it flat.
Yeah.
So it is 1 foot deep, 1 foot tall. So it is 11 feet to the top of the chest. Okay.
Okay. Then they're going to pass up the other chest and the other Sovereign Glue and do that again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you now are at 22 feet.
Right. And
now, how are you getting from? I understand how you get the first time.
Yeah.
Then he does to do it the second time. How's everybody else getting up there?
Okay, now everyone else is going to climb up, and he's going to be on the top and boosting them up to the top of the pit. And when everyone else is out, they're going to reach down and grab him, help him up.
All right, and what's his strength?
His strength is 18.
Okay. So you would need athletics checks to pull people up.
Yeah.
And no advantage because he has, pulling people up. That's all your strength, pretty much.
Well, he's once they're coming up, he's basically boosting them up.
Yep, to the next level.
To the next level,
and then,
the last level. Yeah.
So somebody would be standing on at 22 feet. That leaves us 8 feet to the top.
Yeah.
And they'll crawl over him, boost it up, and over the thing, and then he will have them reach down and help pull him up.
Right.
Okay. This is a record. You did this in 9 minutes.
I'm tired.
No, actually, not 9 minutes. It was 15 minus 9, because you have 9 minutes left right now. Congratulations. That was in no way Well, it was partially the book response, but
hold on. Okay, we had a bit of technical difficulties, but you were saying, go ahead and recap what happened in the traps and riddles.
Well, okay, so you had 15 minutes to figure out how to get out of the 30-foot deep pit.
Yeah.
You had 2 chests,
Mm-hmm.
4 vials of softened glue,
Mm-hmm.
and a ton of coins.
Yeah.
Specifically 500 of them. And you fed the coins to the summoning circle, so it'd be there when the demons showed up to collect.
Yeah.
Then you took the chest, had the guy, put some glue on the side,
yeah.
and then stick him up on the wall.
Yeah.
Then, little jump with a little help.
Yeah, climb.
And then he went up, put the next one up there, and they did this human ladder thing where they climbed over each other and helped each other up and out.
Yeah.
Now that is close to the textbook solution.
And I believe you told me that I got it done in 6 minutes?
Well, technically, you got it done in probably 8 minutes.
Okay.
Because it would take you a minute to glue the chest to the wall.
Right. Well, 2 times, so call it 9 minutes. Well, 6 minutes plus 2, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you get it in a really quick time.
Mm-hmm.
The book says to glue the coins together into rungs. Gluing all 500 coins into rungs of a set length takes 500 seconds, or 8 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And there are 4 vials of glue, and all you have to do is dip them in there. And so 2 PCs can work gluing together. It takes 4 minutes and 10 seconds. 3 PCs do the complete task in 2 minutes, 47 seconds. 4 PCs take 2 minutes, 5 seconds to make a full round for the summer glue to set. And this occurs while other coins are being glued to the top of the stack at the time all the rungs have been made. So basically, you're gluing the coins to the wall to create a ladder.
Yeah.
You bypass all of that.
See, I was thinking that, but I thought, well, the chests are right there, and you gave me dimensions. So I was trying to figure out, okay, I don't have to get to 30 feet. I can get to 30 feet and Michael. That, and one thing that I've learned as a Boy Scout, because I used to be a Boy Scout, that demon was sent to purchase something. I'm fairly certain it's Girl Scout cookies, and you do not cross the Girl Scouts.
Exactly.
Yes.
Have you watched the show Resident Alien?
No, I haven't.
Let's just say one of the aliens is a Girl Scout.
Oh, terrifying. Terrifying.
So, let's go on to our next section.
Which will be after the cut. Welcome back to the RPG Talk Show. We've got some unboxing. And you said you have some stuff for me.
Well, not for you, it's for RPG research.
Right.
But I figured you're going to get a kick out of it and
Okay.
see what it is.
Yes.
Okay. So first we have here is we're going to be unboxing Dungeon Crate.
Yes.
I have been a member of the Dungeon Crate service since they first began.
Yeah.
I had the first box and all of the other boxes since then. And they have been very great. I met him in person.
Really?
And yeah, I met him at Gen Con.
Okay. Okay.
And they have been a proud sponsor of my conventions work, so that when I was doing a convention and I needed gifts to give away to my dungeon masters,
Yeah.
he supplied them.
Nice. Now, in here, I know that these are already open. You said that you had to open these with your family first.
Yes.
So this is more of a surprise for me. I have no idea what's inside of here.
Right. I know it's in there only because we've been getting this box longer than we've been doing this talk show.
Right.
And my family loves to sit down together. Now the other one, Dungeon in a Box, they don't care.
Okay.
So we will,
I wouldn't want to take that away from your family. So.
Okay. So we're opening it up. I want to point out a couple things.
Oh my God! Tissue paper.
You're like my cat.
Well, my cat loves that.
Okay, before you start getting things out of there, let's talk about the box itself.
Yes.
As you can see, it looks like a Mimic. It's got the DC logo on the top, and it's got eyeballs on the sides.
It does? Oh, yes, it does.
It's got a spot there where you can put labels, one on each side.
One there and one there.
Yep. Now open the box and show the top of the lid, but don't let them see too much of it. That's the code. That's enough.
Yeah. It's not on camera.
Okay. That's a code to get into the digital copies of it and to get a 10% discount on my purchases at the store. Look on the left-hand side of the top of the box where you see those coins.
Yeah.
You cut those coins out and you churn them in like you would churn in box tops from cereal to get prizes.
Back when cereals did that.
Yeah.
Which I think ended it right as I was getting in. I think that ended right before I started paying attention to cereals.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It used to be box tops, and they would buy you school supplies.
Yeah.
For as many box tops as you could. So those coins are old-fashioned, and you have to cut them out.
Yeah.
You have to print out the form, and you have to mail them in.
Yeah.
This isn't a digital thing. And they have had things like necklaces, also props or miniatures, but they also have little blind bags of random stuff that you can get by turning those in.
Okay.
I have so many.
So we have in here some Dark Haven Bones miniatures.
From Reaper Miniatures.
Yes. We've got this one is the Mummy Captain.
If you were going to put this into standard Dungeons & Dragons words, it's a Mummy Lord.
Yes. Primed. One of the issues I've historically had with some of the Reaper and Dark Haven Bones miniatures is sometimes that they're a bit warped, and I can tell like the stand on this one's a bit warped.
You know how to fix that?
How?
You take them and you put them in warm water.
Okay.
Not quite boiling, but just warm enough that you can handle it. Put them in there for a couple seconds. Take them out. Press them back into the shape you want, and then instantly stick them in the freezer.
Okay.
And they will lock back into the proper place.
There's also a sticker. Dungeon Master.
Yeah, I'm thinking of putting that one on my laptop because, as you've probably seen, you have these stickers here.
I'll just hand that to you. Yeah.
And I will do that after the broadcast.
We have a D6. It's gold and black. Yeah. And now it's a box. There's something inside.
I don't think there's even a number on the bottom of the box.
No, there is. There's 1, 2, 6, 3, 6, 5.
No 4.
So there's no 4. And let's see what's inside.
It is meant to be a fancy box, not a substitute for a die.
Yeah. Oh, these are cute.
We've had full-size ones of those.
Yeah.
From the year before. Now we got the little micro ones. They're dragon ducks.
Dragon ducks. These are absolutely cute. That's one of them. And there's the other one.
So we have a red dragon and a white dragon.
Yes.
Don't know how many different colors there are, but I do know that those two are there.
That is adorable. We have this bag. This is DungeonCrate.com. Mystery dice set. And they're mini dice.
Okay. And here's
this hasn't been opened.
Well, actually, it has.
It has?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. There, yeah.
You do not have to tear off that tab.
I'm so used to having to tear off the tabs. Yep. I'm sorry. So, trying to be non-destructive here.
Well, we're glad for this because now I can give something that looks like it hasn't been opened yet.
And we have a set of dice.
Now this part we have not opened.
Yeah, obviously. This mini looks like an almost full set.
It is
the D4, D6, the D8, the percentile, The D12 and the D20.
Yep, it's a full set. There's now a big run on these. We've got miniature dice towers that are just for that size. Also, I've seen people carrying those in like pocket watch containers.
Oh yeah. I believe I have like one micro dice, but I would lose them. I know I would lose them.
You know why I don't lose them?
Why?
Because I put them in storage.
Ah.
Don't take them out to play.
Okay. We also have condition markers.
Yes, and I do need more condition markers.
Yeah.
As I'm starting to use those more often, especially Hunter's Mark.
Oh yeah, I've been trying to utilize the ones that I purchased.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, there is the advertisement for Dungeon Crate.
Okay, flip it over. What's on the back? Just more stuff. Subscription, online store, retail shop. They used to have odd things on the back. They're like mini character sheets. And other things that you could use on the back, including initiative trackers.
Now, one of the great things about these are the condition markers, is that they fit the miniatures, the miniature races. So you can just place them right over. So this was for paralyzed. This was for paralyzed. There we go. We have hexed. We have exhaustion. I feel like there should be 6 exhaustion ones. This should be for each level of exhaustion. And we have banished.
Why would you need a miniature label for banished? Just take the banished guy off. But actually, here's the reason you need a banished marker. You take the miniature off of the critter that's been banished.
Yeah.
And you put the banished marker on the map, because that's where he's coming back to in one.
That would work, yeah. I also feel like there should be like a little cage for banished. You banish him, you put the marker down, you take the miniature to the cage. Where is he? He's over there banished.
Right. No, I would go with the little chair in the corner.
We're not making that reference. We're not making that reference. There is the Tome of Tanjin. And some other things in here, but let's go through this.
Okay.
This is by Wayne Breck.
Now, Wayne Brecky is the founder of Dungeon Crate.
Okay.
He used to do this by himself. With very little help. Now he's got a physical store.
Nice.
He's doing it out of his house. Now he's got a physical store where people can come in and buy things. And like I said, great customer service. Mm-hmm. So excellent person. He's the one I met at Gen Con.
Okay. So this is a system neutral or system agnostic, if you're familiar with that term, encounter for levels 3 through 8 from dungeoncrate.com. The Tome of Tanjin. We've got some maps here. It's a sealed entrance with the excavation.
So basically the story is an excavation. Why don't you read the back page?
The back page? Here?
Yep.
Okay. So, let's see here. Deep within the wind-carved cavern of the Shifar Desert lies a resting place lost to legend. The shifting sands have revealed what was meant to remain hidden, an ancient burial ground of unknown origin. Who sleeps within these forgotten tomes? What civilization constructed them? And what treasures may be found within? The answers await those brave enough to descend into the shadows below. And I'm assuming that has something to do with this mummy.
I would make that assumption. I would also make the assumption that the 2 ducks have nothing to do with this.
Well, you can always include the ducks.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yes.
Everybody should know not to pick up a duck in dungeons.
So there's it looks fairly of like a fairly small adventure. You're going to need some cave creepers, ankheads, dark metals, giant snake, giant spider, a desert troll. I would like to see the stats on a desert troll. I suspect it'd be one of those trolls that would actually be immune to fire. Trapped urns, skeleton guardians, a trapped sarcophagus. So looks like we've got our mummy. Hidden royal chamber, the secret door. Curse of the Mummy King. So yeah, there's a mummy. The curse. I won't ruin that.
Yeah.
The Mummy King with the comic notes, and then we've got the Tome Tangina map right there.
So the next things I think are going to expand on the ideas here.
Yeah, these?
Yes.
Okay, so we have the Lost Tome of I was about to say skeleton, but that's Secaton, written by Kevin Coffey. And it's just an encounter. And we've got a map on the back with some illustrations.
Now, if you have the digital code, you can get the maps so you can print them out.
So we've got the entrance, obelisks, pool of purification, the false treasure room, the treasure room, the warrior's tome, and the skeleton's tome. And
please edit that.
And we have some images. That is the Scepter of Shifara. I can tell because it's on the back. There we go.
So there's stats, and besides the illustration, there's stats there.
There's a Mummy Queen sleigh. And that's her stats.
Do they have the desert monster in there? Doesn't look like it.
And we have ReaperCon, an advertisement.
So sometimes if they have an unusual monster, they will put the stat, or new magic items, they'll put the stats on those cards.
Yeah, I did not see anything for a desert troll. But that is Dungeon Crate. I'm going to try and get everything back in here. And what's after Dungeon Crate?
Excuse me. I am so sorry. That is, I have a bit of a cough there. So, after the Dungeon Crate, we got a donation from one of my Tuesday players from my last campaign.
Oh, there's. Okay.
So on the very last day of the campaign, she brought these in, and they were from her grandfather. And she said she was allowed to donate them.
Okay.
So she donated them to RPG Research.
Okay, let's take a look at
I think it's going to be pretty exciting.
So let's put that off to the side. This is the official Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Dungeons Master's Guide.
Now, that is a historical, that's an original printing of it.
Well, let's see here. It's from TSR. I'm afraid there's some scuffing right here. Or some buildup. Right in this corner. Ben Moore, his name, with a phone number. Compiled volume of information primarily used for Advanced Dungeons & Dragons game referees, including combat tables, monsters list, encounters, treasure and magic tables, descriptions, random dungeon generation, random wilderness terrain generation, suggestions for game masters, and more. By Gary Gygax. 1979 TSR Games.
Well, yeah, that was 1979 is when the first Dungeon Master's Guide came out.
Yeah.
And it had two different printing.
Yeah.
The first printing on the Dungeon Master Guide had 4,000 copies. And let's see. I'm trying to find the one where they changed the art. Well, that version is the 1983. It's the 8th print of the Dungeon Master.
So this is
Guide.
the 8th print?
Yep.
Okay.
From 1983. The first print actually has a picture of a Djinn holding a lady in one hand and a giant sword. It's got the Green Knight and the Blue Wizard.
Yeah.
You can actually get these miniatures now from the 50th anniversary.
Okay.
But this guy here, that indicates it's the 8th print of the first edition of the original.
So with these, I'm a bit of a comic book nerd. I'm afraid to really handle this too much.
I understand. And it will go into our museum.
Yes.
It may be, if we have a lot of duplicates of some of these older books, we may auction them off.
Yeah.
But for now, this one's going to go into the museum.
We'd have to organize and archive them first.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which we're in the process. I do know we have another one of these specifically. But it's good, especially for a museum and a research thing, to have more than one copy.
Yeah, it's better than it going out into the ether and possibly being destroyed.
By the way, the donor of that, her name is Ani.
Thank you, Ani.
And she is a local gamer, but she's also in the college choir, and she's a very talented singer.
Well, I will not. Well, I'm horrible at singing, so all the more respect to that. Let's see here if we can get any other shots. I see some weathering.
Do the front page.
The front page?
Yeah.
It has the unicorn.
But it has. Well, yeah. If you flip, let go of that page you have right there. The person who originally owned it.
Yeah.
Don't. That's all. Some guy named Ben.
Yeah.
We don't want to dox anybody.
Yeah. Fortunately, it doesn't have an area code. Yeah. So I don't know what area code, and I'm not about to find out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's original.
Nice.
It's the second. It's the 8th reprinting of that. There were other printings that we can get into the history of. But as far as that was the second illustration for the covers. Now these are original prints of first edition pieces.
So these, for example, this is Advanced Dungeons and Dragons: The Hidden Temple of Tomachan, which
Hidden Shrine of Tomachan.
I'm used to just, I don't know why I keep on calling it a temple. The Hidden Shrine of Tomachan, which I've recently suffered through.
Yeah, we ran this. I ran you through this, a 5th edition version of this.
And notice how small these are. These modules used to be very, very small.
Yeah. Well, what you're looking at now is that they're printing campaigns.
Yes.
Which is made of, you have an encounter, and multiple encounters include a module, but multiple modules include a campaign.
Yes.
And now you're seeing that they're just publishing full campaigns.
Yes.
Like the new Lost Mines of Fandelver and Below.
Yeah.
Takes you first through 12th level. And that's the entire campaign. There are very few 1 through 20 campaigns. We're running one on Tuesday. This is another one. And this is S2.
This is S2. When we talk about S2 in for example, C1, it's normally top right-hand corner.
Well, they also mean something, and what the means is written right by the S2. So you're looking at a special edition.
Yeah.
The special modules, there's at least 4 of, and they're really classic. This one's in a volcano.
Okay, that would be the White Plume Mountain.
Yes.
Isn't this the origin of Drow?
No. That's
Where
wrong.
Where do Drow first show up in Dungeons and Dragons?
I believe that they first showed up in the end of the Giant series, Against the Giants.
Against the Giants.
And then the Demon Web pits that follow up of that.
Okay, I was under the assumption that White Plume Mountain had something to do with Drow at the end.
No.
Okay. And there's the back of this one. Not much to see.
Well, the back you're seeing there is a card.
Yes, it is cardstock. I'm loath to open these up because I don't have on gloves and I'm not in a hermetically sealed environment.
I don't think we need to go so far as hermetically sealed. Yeah, but gloves would be probably appreciated.
Yeah. Dr. Comics and Mr. Games?
Where is that? It should say on the stamp. This is where
Oakland, California.
Yeah, so these were purchased in the 80s at the very least, early 70s. 1979 is when the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons was published the first time.
Yeah.
1974 was when Dungeons and Dragons were first published.
And the last one that we have is Monsters and Treasures Assortment.
Right, now this is a accessory, and read the thing there. Is this for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, or is that a basic Dungeons and Dragons thing?
Set 3, levels 7 through 9. This set contains 300 monsters, 300 treasures, treasure storage, guarding, hiding modes, the complete instructions for using the assortment to fill in partially stocked or newly encountered dungeon levels. TSR Hobbies, Inc.
Well, TSR Hobbies is the people who made Dungeons and Dragons to start with.
Yeah, so I think this is first edition.
That is first edition.
Yeah. So not Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, just first edition. Also from Dr. Comics and Mr. Games.
Well, no. See, here's a little thing about the naming things.
Yeah.
We have there's Dungeons and Dragons,
yes,
which we now call ODNG, Original Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
If you find a product that says ODNG D&D on it,
that's fake.
It's definitely fake because they were just called Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Then in 1979, so they started in 1974 with ODNG. 1979 they came out simultaneously, Basic Dungeons and Dragons,
which we know is Beckme.
Well, no, Beckme didn't come out until later.
Okay.
In 1979, he also came out with Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons is Dungeons and Dragons First Edition.
Okay.
So when we're talking the naming rights, the naming allocation, when we say first, second, third, fourth, fifth, 3.5, 5.24, all of those are Advanced Dungeons and Dragons titles.
So it started off with Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
Then Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Second Edition,
which is where I first came in.
Right. Then there was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Third Edition, and Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 3.5, where they upgraded the rules significantly, but not enough to call it a new edition.
Yeah. And that eventually spun out into Pathfinder.
Right. Specifically, a significant thing between second edition and third edition is that TSR was going out of business at the end of second edition.
Yeah.
So third edition is Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
Fourth edition is also Wizards of the Coast. It was not very popular for reasons we won't go into here.
It is complicated.
But fifth edition is Wizards of the Coast plus Hasbro.
Okay.
Now, I'm not 100% sure about my dates. I know it's 2014 that it came out, but how soon after 2014 did Hasbro buy Wizards of the Coast? I'm not sure.
I would have to take a look at my history, but I actually suspect that Hasbro owned Wizards of the Coast before 5th edition came out. But it's only recently that Hasbro really started paying attention to what Wizards of the Coast was doing.
Right. There's lots of reasons that that's significant. Actually, it was 1999 that Hasbro purchased Wizards of the Coast, so
Okay.
it was prior to 5th edition.
Okay.
They were mostly hands-off,
Yeah.
and then they got a lot more hands-on, especially coming up to the... So, when was the crisis?
The OGL crisis?
Yeah.
2024, 2023. Then
Yeah,
going
so-
into the 50th anniversary for 2025. Well, 2024 into 2025. Yeah, there's been 2 OGL crises, one for 5th edition, one for 4th edition.
Well, that's when they really started getting involved.
Yeah.
And there have been some missteps. Again, that's not part of the unboxing here.
No, it isn't.
The items that you see there are original printings. They're not glossy. The art is black and white.
Yeah.
They're obviously not done with the budget that we had here. The pull up one that is C.
C? C1.
C1. So that's a competition series.
Okay.
And so that was introduced at Gen Con, where they ran it as a tournament.
Okay.
And some of the older competition modules, that one might have it as well, has the scoring sheets.
Okay. It actually says right here, this module was originally used for the original Dungeons & Dragons tournament at Origins 79, and is the first in another series of modules from TSR, the competition series. So that would include why it's C. The first C is for competition, and that's the first in the competition series.
So the competition ones, which was done at Gen Con, and one of the things that a lot of people don't know about Gen Con,
Yeah.
before Wizards of the Coast's president at the time took over, and then he divested himself from Wizards of the Coast and just owns Gen Con,
Yeah.
at which time Wizards of the Coast became less prominent at at Gen Con.
Yeah.
But the inventor of Gen Con was Gary Gygax, the inventor of Dungeons and Dragons.
Also, before he divested himself from TSR,
No,
because I don't think Gary Gygax was ever involved with Wizard of the Coast.
no. Let me explain
Okay.
from the beginning. Let me do it. 1968. Gary Gygax, co-inventor of Dungeons and Dragons. Dave Arneson.
Yeah.
Before Dave Arneson's, there was Jeff Perrin.
Yeah.
So Gary Gygax and Jeff Perrin created a chainmail.
They created chainmail. Yeah.
Chainmail, which was a war game, tabletop war game, that had a single sheet of introducing fantasy elements
Yeah.
to their war game. That was in 1968, and it was when Gen Con was first done at Lake Geneva, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
That's why it's called Gen Con.
Okay.
Gary Gygax started Gen Con. They produced that thing. Then he got together with Dave Arneson, made Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah.
which the original version required you to have chainmail. So it was an expansion from the chainmail. And you know what else? Other game had to be part. It wasn't
Wilderness
required.
Survival.
Wilderness Survival board game was used for all the outdoor stuff.
So even back then, you still needed 3 books.
3 boxes. Well, chainmail was just a single book.
Yeah.
The OD&G was 3 pamphlets in a box that expanded additionally other boxes like the Greyhawk and the Blackmore and various other books that went into the collection. I have the originals.
Okay.
And I've heard a rumor that somebody's donating the originals to Hawk
I will.
for RPG research.
if that comes up, I will talk to him about that.
Yeah.
But I believe that is the end of our show today.
Oh, excellent.
Yes. What do we have planned for next week?
Next week, well, we have some simple stuff to talk about because we are going to be talking about accessibility. When you hear me at the beginning of the show, for all players.
Yes.
Well, accessibility is how we make it available to all players.
Mm-hmm. Be it physical limitations, social limitations, psychological limitations, we try to accommodate as many as we can.
Right. If you need a wheelchair, or if you need braille dice, or if you need something that allows you to hang on to a pencil or drop a die, these are all the accessibility type things, including accessibility for others' mental issues that make, like, we need to turn the lights down, or we need to include a little bit of music, or we need to exclude music.
Right.
All these different things that we might have to do for accessibility. So that will definitely be our main topic. What are we going to do for Just Chatting? We won't know until we start talking.
No, we won't.
And as far as the unboxing is concerned, we probably won't know for a few days.
Yeah, you'll surprise me with something else.
Actually, I do know what's going to be in the next unboxing. We may have additional things, but I've already talked about it. I'm bringing the spell cards.
Oh, yes, you did. You did tell me about that.
And I'm also going to be unboxing Dungeon in a Box.
Okay.
Because we got a brand new one of theirs. The seal has not been broken on that one. So next week, we'll have a couple things for you to look forward to.
Okay. So that has been the RPG Talk Show. My name is Daniel Ivey, and this is
John Wilker, Vice President of RPG Research.
We will see you next time.
All right. Good night and
dream well.